goodness me, Rachmaninoff was such a great melodicist. Beautiful writing there from Mr. Rack, and we heard his just an excerpt from the Symphonic Dances, Opus 45, a very late work. I think he wrote it in 1940, and he didn't last long after that. It's well worth an indulge. I'm vk3sl, and slightly under the weather, but...
Good afternoon, I was about to say, you sound a little more.
Yeah, unfortunately it's prevailing, this thing, but my approach to such things is to soldier on and not too much navel gazing. So we'll try and make it all work.
See how you go.
Yeah, we'll just see how we go. Yeah, I'm pretty wretched, but look, I think the way this thing usually plays out is that there's a peak in the first day or two, and then it sort of evens out. So yeah,
you got people to look after you and stuff like that.
Yeah, the family are looking after me. I'm living in the caravan and in this room.
Yeah, okay.
So there's a couple of spaces for me, and so we'll just see how it goes. It's pretty unpleasant, to be honest.
Obviously, make sure you stay warm and stay hydrated.
Yes, that's the trick, is to stay hydrated. And I've just taken another load of painkillers, so hopefully that'll perk things up a little bit. But as I said, it's usually the first day. That's the way it was with my father when he had it last week.
Yeah.
And then it sort of finds it slowly diminishes from there. But I'm still very much in the first 24 hours. So we'll persevere, and we'll look for some themes and some good music, and I'll be here all week, folks, so that's one good thing. I look forward to mining the archive.
We're here all week, try the fish.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes, that's right. Yes. All right then, gentlemen, we'll kick off, I think, with a 20s hit. This one goes way back to 1923. It was a song made famous by Sophie Tucker, but in this instance we've got Samuels and his orchestra. It's a chap called Joseph Samuels. He ran a band with Nathan Glantz and others in the that proto-jazz period in the early 1920s. This is an original. It's on an Imperial 78. And so we'll give it a spin. It's a track called You've Got to See Mammy Every Night. Great name for a song. vk3sl.
Mama every night, oh you can't see Mama at all. You gotta kiss Mama, treat her right, oh she won't be home when you call. If you want my company, you can't see me. You gotta see Mama every night, oh you can't see Mama at all. Monday night I sat alone. Tuesday night, why you didn't phone. Wednesday night, you didn't call. Thursday night, why the same old stall. Friday night, you dodged my path. Saturday night, oh, you took your bath. Sunday night, you called on me, but you brought 3 girls for company.
There we have it. And that is the Samuels Orchestra. Samuels and his orchestra, Joseph Samuels. And that was released on an Imperial record, an English label, run by the Crystalite Gramophone Company in the early days, in the 20s. And they, in this instance, they're using masters evidently from the US. It was definitely Billy Jones singing on that record.
Oh.
And I'd be keen to know who the trumpeter was. It certainly wasn't syncopated, but there was a strong presence.
Nice sound.
Yeah, and Nathan Glantz, I think, was the alto sax player. So, yeah, we have a bit of history. Now, that song prevailed. It went on through the went on through the generations, and was set upon by none other than K-Star. Now, this dawned on me, so we'll have to hear the K-Star version of that song from 1947. Let's hear her in action.
You gotta see your mama every night, or you can't see your mama at all. You gotta kiss your mama, treat her right, or I won't be home when you call. Now I don't like that kind of man that works on the installment plan. You gotta see your mama every night, or you can't see your mama at all. Monday night you didn't show. Tuesday night you claimed no dough. Wednesday night that same old star. Thursday night you didn't call. Friday night you dodged my path. Saturday night you took your bath. Sunday night you had a date, and from the looks of everything I'd say that I don't rate. Hey you'd better show tonight, or you won't see your mama at all. You'd better hold me, you'd better kiss me right, or I won't be there when you call. I don't like that kind of man that makes love on the installment plan. You'd better see me, you'd better make things right, or you won't see your mama at all. Cut out all this stalling, cut in on some calling, or you won't see your mama at all.
Yeah, this distinguished voice there of K-Star.
I would like K-Star.
Yeah, she's amazing. And that was 1947, so early days for Kay, because her big hits were in the 50s, weren't they, Frank?
Yeah, well, still had that powerful voice.
Yeah, she certainly did.
Even then, she was great.
Yeah, she suits the idiom very well. So that was good to hear. Now, I understand that Peggy Lee also did a take on that same tune, so I'm keen to hear these. They're all unknown to me. So we'll check her out as well, perhaps. Miss Wonderful, it says here.
Very good.
Peggy Lee, and the same song from about 10 years later, I think.
You got to see Mama every night, or you can't see Mama at all. You got to kiss Mama, treat her right, or she won't be home when you call. And if you want my company, you can 50-50 me. You got to see Mama every night, or you can't see Mama at all. phone. Wednesday night you didn't call. Thursday night the same old star. You got to see Mama every night, or you can't see Mama at all. Friday night you dodged my path. Saturday night you took your bath. Sunday night you called on me, but you brought 3 girls for company. You got to see Mama every night, or you can't see your Mama at all. You got to see Mama every night, or you can't see Mama at all. You got to kiss Mama, treat her right, or she won't be home when you call. I don't want that kind of man who works on the installment plan. You got to see Mama every night, or you can't see your Mama at all.
In full swing, Peggy Lee and her take on the same tune, which we've sort of featured 3 times now. So we've heard it in several incarnations. In fact, Liza Minnelli recently did one.
Finish.
Yes, that's right, the big bang at the end. Yeah. So there we go. That was a bit of a journey.
I reckon
Through the
K-Star
decades.
was the best version.
Yeah, I think so too, Frank. I agree.
It's just the song suited her best.
Yes, indeed.
It's a bit of a belter song.
It is.
Lee's not a belter. She's
I'd
more
like-
sophisticated.
Yes, I agree. She is. Now, I think there's a version here with Sophie Tucker. Sophie Tucker. It's another early one. I'd like to hear it. Maybe it's a nice way to Sophie Tucker. You've got to see. Sorry, I've lost the track. You've got to see. So wait a minute. You got to see Mama every night. Okay, Mama every night. Sorry about this, folks. A little bit behind the 8 ball here. Sophie Tucker. Now here it is, 1923. This is the song that put the. This is the recording that put the song on the map. Now she had an amazing voice, Sophie Tucker, and it would be a nice way to wrap it up. We'll go back to 1923 and hear Sophie in action. She was an amazing singer. She did Life Begins at 40, I think, a little bit later on.
She's the last of the Red Hot Mamas.
She certainly was. So here we go, back to 1923, Sophie Tucker.
Daddy dear, listen here. Your mama's feeling blue. I don't see much of you. That will never do. Once a week, your mama's cheek gets a kiss or two. Now I'm not showing you the door. I'm just laying down the law. You gotta see mama every night, or you can't see mama at all. You've gotta kiss mama, treat her right, or she won't be home when you call. Now I don't care for that kind of a man who loves his mama on the installment plan. You've gotta see mama every night, or you can't see mama at all. For instance, Monday night, I sat alone. Tuesday night, you didn't phone. Wednesday night, you didn't call. Thursday night, the same old song. Friday night, you dodged my path. Saturday night, you took your bath. Sunday night, you called on me, but you broke your wife and your family. Now you gotta see Mama every night, or you can't see Mama at all. You gotta kiss Mama, treat her right, or she won't be home when you call. Now I don't care for that kind of a chic who does the chiking once a week. You gotta see Mama every night, or you can't see Mama at all.
Well, there we go.
That is how it is done.
Yes, fantastic. Unfortunately, that record has been over-processed. But I love the line about the chic and chiking once a week.
Yes, right.
Fantastic lyrics.
Interesting vocal style too, isn't it? That elongating of a lot of those sounds on the trailing edge of a phrase.
Yeah, very
It's
much
one of
so.
her trademarks.
It certainly was, and it influenced people like Mae West later on. And and certainly a characteristic of blues singers from that period as well, which she exemplified. But she just had such power in her voice and such swagger. It's wonderful.
A lot of Mae
wonderful
West
style.
in there, wasn't there? Or Mae West, I suppose, followed her, didn't she?
I'd say so. I think Mae West would have copied Sophie Tucker.
Indeed.
But she had a very long career. She was recording right up until the 1940s,
Oh, that's
50s, I
great.
think. Yeah, amazing. So, excuse me. We'll continue now. I was outside before sorting out a couple of things, finding somewhere to stay, and I found another box of records which I don't think I've been through yet.
Yet another box.
Oh, yeah, they're just sort of stored
Always
anywhere.
boxes.
Yeah, boxes under the tennis table. And this
I've
one,
worked out what you need.
what's that?
Your booth needs to be a TARDIS.
Yeah, that's right. I do need a TARDIS.
Yeah,
If anyone has a TARDIS that they're happy to pass this way, I'd be...
Something that's significantly bigger on the inside.
Yeah, that's right. So I remember, I think I've said this story, but I remember Ralph Knight years ago saying, just put a record in a cupboard, close it up, and in 10 years' time it'll be full of records.
Yes, wasn't he right?
And I think that's what's happened under the tennis table, because there's boxes, crates of 78s that I somehow missed the
Be
sort.
careful, they multiply.
They do indeed.
What you call reproduction.
Yes, indeed. So we have here some MGM. These are from the 50s. They're probably quite low grade. That's probably why I didn't persevere much with them. But look, who knows? They're MGM 78s in the late 40s, early 50s, most of them. And so we've got one here with... who is it? Debbie Reynolds, I think, and Carlton Carpenter.
Yes.
And I think it was a bit of a hit for them. It's Oh by Jingo. So,
Oh, by jingo, by gee, by gosh, by gong, we'll call.
oh, well done. Segway. Let's have a listen. vk3sl.
vk3sl.
Oh, by gee, by gosh, by gum, by Joe. Oh, by jingo, won't you hear our love? We will build for you a hut. You will be our favorite nut. We'll have a lot of little oh by gollies, then we'll put 'em in the follies. By jingo said, by gosh, by Jim. By Jiminy, please don't bother me. So they all went away singing, oh, by gee, by gosh, by gum, by jub, by jingo. By gee, you're the only one for me. In the land of San Domingo lived a gal called oh, by jingo. From the fields and from the marshes came the old and young by goshes.
They all spoke with a different lingo, but they all loved Oh by Jingo. And every night they sang in the pale moonlight. Oh by gee, by gosh, by gum, by John. Oh by Jingo, won't you hear our love? We will build for you a hut. You will be our favorite nut. We'll have a lot of little oh by gollies, and we'll put him in the follies. By Jingo said, by gosh, by gee. By Jiminy, please don't bother me. So they all went away singing oh by gee, by gosh, by gum, by jump, by Jingo. By gee, you're the only one for me. Oh by gee, by gosh, by gum, by jump. Oh by Jingo, won't you hear our love? We will build for you a hut. You will be our favorite nut. We'll have a lot of little old by gollies, then we'll put them in the follies. By Jingo said, by gosh, by gee. By Jiminy, please don't bother me. So they all went away singing oh by gee, by gosh, by gum, by jump, by Jingo. They all went away singing oh by gee, by gosh, by gum, by jump, by Jingo. By gee, you're the only one for me.
And into the ether. Yes, that was the music of Debbie Reynolds and Carlton Carpenter there. And Oh by Jingo. Now, Debbie Reynolds, of course, this will interest you, Frank OP, was the mother of Carrie Fisher, of course, Star Wars fame. So Princess Leia, that's her mum.
Oh, yes, her mother, yes.
Singing on that disc. In fact, I think they died only a couple of days from each other. I think.
Yeah, I know, that was quite freaky.
It was, rather. And we'll turn the record over. We'll have a look. Let's see what's on the other side. Oh, interesting. These are conducted by Ziggy Elman. Now, Ziggy Elman, of course, was the trumpet player with Benny Goodman. I think also with Tommy Dorsey for a while as well. He was a major figure in the swing era. So here he is doing some studio stuff in the 50s. And let's have a look at side B. He'd have to get under, get out, and get under.
Get under.
To fix up his automobile.
That's the one.
Okay. Shall I play it?
Yeah, it's a novelty song.
Another novelty song. I think we need some novelty. So here we go. Another MGM classic from the 40s, I suppose. The early 50s, maybe.
Early 50s.
Sure.
Have to get under, get out and get under. Johnny O'Connor bought an automobile. He took his sweetie for a ride one Sunday.
Johnny was togged up in his best Sunday clothes. She nestled close to his side.
Well, things went just dandy till he got down the road. Then something happened to the old machinery. That engine got his goat off on his hat and coat. Everything needed repair. He'd have to get under, get out and get under to fix his little machine. He was just dying to cuddle his queen, but every minute when he'd begin it, he'd have to get under, get out and get under. Then he'd get back at the wheel. A dozen times he'd start to hug and kiss, and then the darned old motor it would miss, and then he'd have to get under, get out and get under to fix up his automobile.
Johnny,
Yeah?
how fast are we going?
Oh, she's doing almost 20 miles an hour. Why?
Well, the breeze is making me cold. Put your arm around me, Johnny.
Oh, golly, I wouldn't dare.
Why not?
Would you realize what would happen if I took my hands off the wheel?
Let's see.
Okay. I told you. He'd have to get under, get out and get under to fix his little machine. He was just dying to cuddle his queen, but every minute when he'd begin it, he'd have to get under, get out and get under. Then he'd get back at the wheel. A dozen times they'd start to hug and kiss, and then the darned old motor it would miss. And then he'd have to get under, get out and get under.
Carlton Carpenter and Debbie Reynolds there. And on an MGM 78, it's interesting with the close miking, you can sort of have that machine gun delivery. And when you think of that earlier recording, which was acoustic with Sophie Tucker, they had to project so much more.
I know.
There's a really different mode of delivery altogether until I suppose the crooning phenomenon is a product.
Also, the close is a lot breathier, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
That first song suited Sophie because it was a projecting song. It was a belter sort of song.
Yeah, that's right. So they had to use a stage voice, whereas crooners typically are a product of the microphone when you think of it.
A bit like Bing.
Yeah, see, Bing probably didn't have... If you heard Bing sing without a mic, you probably wouldn't have had the biggest voice.
You'd have had trouble to fill a hall, I'd imagine.
I think so. He probably would have been quite diminutive in some respects, would have been probably a bit of an anticlimax, but the proximity effect with microphones.
But didn't he use the mic well?
Yeah, he used it really well. I mean, he just understood. There's a few people in that time who just developed that skill immediately, like, what's his name? Gene Autry was another one.
Yeah.
Who was very successful crooning with quite a small voice, but a very intimate sort of sound. So look, riffing through this pile, there's a selection here from Showboat with Kathy Grayson and Howard Keel. This is the when Showboat sort of had its second reprise, I think, in the early 50s.
It's had so many.
Yeah, I think it originally was produced in the, I think about 1926.
Something like that, yeah, it was very early.
Yeah, and so...
That's, I forgot. It's always fresh, isn't it?
Yeah, it is always fresh. The songs endure, they certainly do. So... we have here Catherine Grayson and Howard Keel, and this is their rendition of Make Believe, really a great song, with Adolphe Deutsch conducting the MGM Studio Orchestra. I'm vk3sl.
Only make believe I love you. Only make believe that you love me. Others find peace of mind in pretending. Couldn't you? Couldn't I? Couldn't we? Make believe our lips are blending in a phantom kiss, or two or three. Might as well make believe I love you. Or to tell the truth, I do.
Though the cold and brutal fact is, you and I have never met. We need not mind conventions, fees and cues. If we put our thoughts in practice, we can banish all regrets. Imagining most anything we choose. We could make believe I love you. Only make believe that you love me.
Others find peace of mind in pretending. Couldn't you?
Couldn't I?
Couldn't we? Make believe our lips are blending in a phantom kiss, or two or three.
Well, very much a stage performance in that instance there with with Catherine Grayson, and who's the other singer? Howard Keel. Yeah, in the 1950s. Now that prompted me to revisit an earlier recording of the same work with Mr. Crosby. He recorded it in 1927, one of his very first records with Paul Whiteman. And again, we just you get that intimacy when he's almost whispering into the microphone. It's a terrific track, and it features a slap string bass solo by Steve Brown from the New York Rhythm Kings behind his voice. In fact, Steve Brown was the first double bass player in pop music, really. So incredibly significant.
Yeah.
So a young Bing Crosby here in his early 20s, and he sounds quite vulnerable on this record. It's interesting. It's not so. I don't know. It's a different character to his voice. See what you think.
Oh, I do.
And with Paul Whiteman and the band vk3sl testing.
Could make believe I love you, only make believe that you love me. Others find peace of mind in pretending. Couldn't you, couldn't I, couldn't we make believe our lips are blending in a phantom kiss or two or three? Might as well make believe I love you, or to tell the truth, I do.
That was Bingle Boy there with the Whiteman Orchestra in 1927. And Make Believe from Showboat with some very dynamic.
I just got to take a phone call.
Yeah, no worries at all. That was with some dynamic slap string bass behind the vocal. Okay, sifting through the 78s. Excuse me. I'll speak softer. Sifting through the 78s, we've found a recording here of Stuart Robertson. He was a bass baritone in the 1920s, 30s English. And it's a song that's always been close to my heart, is the Skyboat song. And so it was quite exciting to find a rendition of the Skyboat song I usually sort of associate this with Scottish folk tradition and such, but we'll hear it now in a slightly more parlour mode, and apparently this record dates back to 1930. vk3sl, testing.
Speed, bunny, bolt like a bird on the wing, on with the sailor's cry. Carry the lad that's born to be king, over the sea to sky. Loud the winds howl, loud the waves roar, thunderclaps rend the air. Baffled our foes stand by the shore, follow they will not dare. Speed, bunny, boat like a bird on the wing, on with the sailor's cry. Carry the lad that's born to be king, over the sea to sky. Though the waves leap, soft shall ye sleep, ocean's a royal bed. Rocked in the deep, Flora will keep watch by your weary head. Speed, bunny, boat like a bird on the wing, on with the sailor's cry. Carry the lad that's born to be king, over the sea to sky. Many's the lad fought on that day, well the claymore could wield. When the night came, silently lay dead on Culloden's field. Speed, bunny, bolt like a bird on the wing, on with the sailor's cry. Carry the lad that's born to be king, over the sea to sky. Burned are our homes, exile and death scatter the loyal men. Yet ere the sword cool in the sheath, Charlie will come again. Speed, bunny, bolt like a bird on the wing, on with the sailor's cry. Carry the lad that's born to be king, over the sea to sky.
There's a Sky Boat song, as sung by Mr. Robertson there. Apparently in 1930 that record was made. There's some really terrific versions of that tune around, quite including some which sort of have a really folky feel to them. Like the Corries did a version. Here we go. I think I can find it. Yes, have a listen to this. vk3sl.
The sailors cry, carry the lad that's born to be king, over the sea to sky. Loud the wind howls, loud the waves roar, thunderclaps rend the air. Baffled our foes stand on the shore, follow they will not dare. Speed, bunny, boat like a bird on the wing, onward the sailors cry. Carry the lad that's born to be king, over the sea to sky. Many's the lad fought on that day, well the claymore did wield. When the night came, silently lay dead on Culloden sailors cry. Carry the lad that's born to be king over the sea to sky. Though the waves leap, soft will he sleep, ocean's royal bed. Rocked in the deep, Flora will keep watch by her weary head. Speed, bonny boat, like a bird on the wing, onward the sailors cry. Carry the lad that's born to be king over the sea to sky.
That was the Corries' take on the Skybird song. It's a beautiful tune. I'd like to seek out other performances. I'm sure there are some really just beautiful, intimate renditions of that song.
Interesting, the first one you played, like it sounds pretty old-fashioned and dirgy.
Yeah.
And the folk version, it's sort of modernish, and I'm quite happy to listen to that.
Yeah.
Whether I listen to the other one is another matter.
Yeah, look, I understand. In fact, I mean, traditionally it would have been sung in a more folksy sort of way, so...
you kind of imagine a little group like that singing in the corner of a tavern somewhere.
That's right.
Sort of singing. It's interesting, the lyrics. Listen, I mentioned Culloden, the battlefield. I went and visited it in 2017, and the Jacobite Rebellion, and it's interesting. It's sort of, some of the places that are mentioned in it. You go, you can see kind of the origins of the tune now.
Yeah, sure. They're beautiful, mournful songs, all those Celtic songs. And yes, I do like hearing them in their sort of native folk array. It was quite... in the 20s and 30s, it became popular to sort of redress that type of music and tidy it up and package it in a more formal tradition, as we heard before. But it's all a part of the big picture. But
the 50s, they undressed it again and tried to sing it like it used to be.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? So
50s and 60s, more the 60s, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, and it'd be good to hear some other versions of it. It's folk guys.
There would be lots of them.
There's some really good folk music put up online recently. Early folk music, recorded in the 20s. And it was so beautiful, if I can only find it.
Oh, yeah.
What I might do, I'll see if I can find it. It was a folk fiddle player, and it was something really just tremendously interesting. While I'm looking for it, speaking of sort of tidying up and redressing...
I imagine there probably wouldn't have been too much of it recorded, given that, it probably wasn't considered the mass appeal of all of the bigger artists, and so the opportunities to record back then were probably limited.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It was more a case of picking up on old people who got recorded in the 40s and 30s with people like Alan Lomax.
Yeah, indeed. That was an incredible initiative. And... of course, Granger was doing that sort of thing early on as well. Bartok was, and Kodai. They sort of recorded their native music and tried to keep the traditions alive.
I think you'd be surprised what was recorded, probably just sitting around somewhere.
Yeah, well, this is it. I think there's some really interesting stuff out there, but it's just...
And how much remains available?
Well, it's just the question of access, but I think now's as good time as any to seek these things out. Yeah, look, I'll try and find that fiddle one because it was really interesting. And while searching for it, I'll just put on a recording of Paul Robeson, and this is a track called Roll Up Sailor Man. Mr. Robeson again, around about 1930. It's a bit early, this one. So we'll spin this, and I'll see if I can find that fiddle record.
All the harbour sharks, they lie in wait as they prowl around by the big dock gate. They're all lined up for an easy job for a sailor man. to rob. It's roll up, sailor man, you're everybody's friend. The moment that you land upon the shore, it's roll up, sailor, when you've got a dime to spend. You're just the man your pals are waiting for. Buy them beer and get 'em singing. Lead the chorus with a roar. But it's crammed, you sailor, when your money's at an end. Get off with you to sea and earn some more. All the dockside rats, the alehouse top, and the scrounging crowd who can make things rough. They'll all be there when your ship comes in, with their teeth all bare in a welcoming grin. It's roll up, sailor man, from all the rotten scum, the moment that you land upon the shore. It's roll up, sailor, you can pay for all the rum, so nobody will have to order more. Crimps and runners rob your pocket while you're helpless on the floor. And it's crammed, you sailor man, to our kingdom come. You're just a boot the sharks are waiting for.
There we have it, Paul Robeson. Yeah, look at the... let's let that go. Yeah, these are recordings from a violinist called Elsie Averill, who was a Scottish fiddle player. She recorded for Columbia in the 20s, and someone's recently put a few of her records up. One of the uploaders who I respect, most of them don't do such a good job, but these come up really nicely. So have a listen to this. It's English folk music from that period, and it's a running set of airs, selection by Elsie Averill. She had an amazing sense of rhythm. Incredible. Elsie Averill playing traditional music, but there's a bit more to Elsie than meets the eye. I just looked her up. And indeed, those records were made in the late 1920s. But she was actually born, would you believe, in Sydney, Australia, in the 1880s. And she was in London by the turn of the century, and says here she was educated there and just got really into the tradition of Morris music and was sort of discovered, and basically that was her domain for the rest of her life. How about that? And she even went to the USA and did a couple of tours in the 20s, but died in 1977. So would have been in her 90s. How about that?
Terrific stuff.
What a great story. There's an untold Australian story, the story of Elsie Averill. And, excuse me, I'll see if I can, sorry, I'll put on another track from her. Let's have a look. There's a couple here. Here is a pipe and tabor accompaniment. Oh, this will be good. There's a track called Lady's Pleasure and None So. Well, this certainly deserves a play. In fact, it was just the sound of the pipes. It didn't feature Elsie at all on that. It was indeed Joan Sharp playing pipe and tabor there. Lady's Pleasure and None So Pretty, two Morris jigs there.
Still pretty nice. Very
good. I do enjoy British music, folk music. I like its simplicity and really... I'm going to look up Elsie Averill and find out more about her, because she had fantastic sense of rhythm. Was really very exciting playing. It was great stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing what you're finding out. It's interesting. UHF's dropping in and out about just conditions. I think it's going up and down.
Oh, heck! I forgot to put the bloody fan on.
So it's not. I think Frank OP is not complaining. So I think it's just the path to here.
Right. Okay. I'll just make sure.
160 is booming in, of course. Sounds so much better, even just in a bash radio 160.
Okay.
But
is it still holding up with the same signal strength as last week?
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, it's really good here now. It's amazing.
Isn't that interesting? All right.
Just had to jump up if you just switch something on. But
I just switched the fan on. I'd forgotten to put
when you switched the fan on, it seemed to come up, but it's been 40, 50 over 9 and fairly constant here.
Yeah, I must remember.
The signal level's quite constant to me, but we've got a good path.
Yeah, sure. That's good. All right. Well, in the well, thank you for that. That's good to get a report, and I'd like to unpack these themes a bit more and discover stuff. Here's one from the very early days. I just found on the shelf. A guy called Patrick Delaney, who was a fiddle player. I think he was born in the 1840s or 50s, a long time ago. This record goes back to the early days of the century, and it's on a Scala record. It's one of those labels under that unusual label listing that we were talking about the other day. Scala records, I think they came out in the 1900s, early hundreds. And here he is playing a few, doing Londonderry Air, and Who Speaks for Who Fears to Speak of 98? I presume that's 1898, and The Boys of Wexford, which was a Irish independent song.
It's not British.
Yeah, that's right. It's Irish. So we'll have a little sample of Mr. Patrick Delaney here on a very early recording made about 120 or 100 and probably 18 years ago or something. So, yeah. Let's have a listen. it's always good to hear the Boys of Wexford. It's a beautiful tune. I love its melodic shape. Which fader? Sorry, folks. A bit of brain fog today. Boys of Wexford, and it was an Irish independent song, as I understand it. And it's a song that sort of was reconstituted a lot within our own folk tradition, and one song comes to mind which is basically the same melody as what we just heard, is a song made famous by the Seekers. In fact, it was heard long before the Seekers were around.
Well, the melody's the same as Oh Danny Boy, isn't it?
The first one was, but there was 3 songs on that, and the last one was the Boys of Wexford. So I'll just play that little bit again, and then I'll segue straight into the Seekers' take of the same song, and you'll hear it's exactly the same tune, really, and it's got a distinctly Australian flavour. It's actually consigned as a Gold Rush song. I'll give you that last little bit so you can hear the Boys of Wexford, and then we'll fire away.
We left old England shore, such yarns as we were told, as how folks in Australia could pick up lumps of gold. So when we got to Melbourne town, we were ready soon to slip and get even with the captain. We scuttled from the ship with my swaggle on my shoulder, black belly in my hand. I travelled the bush of Australia like a true-born native man. We steered our course for Portland town, then northwest of Ballarat, where some of us got mighty thin, and some got sleek and fat. Some tried their luck at Bendigo, and some at Fiery Creek. I made a fortune in a day, and spent it in a week, with my swaggle on my shoulder, black belly in my hand. I travelled the bush of Australia like a true-born native man. So round the Tucker tracks I tramped, nor leave them out of sight. My swag's on my left shoulder, and then upon my right, and then I take it on my back, and off the bonnet lie. These are the best of Tucker tracks, so I'll stay here till I die, with my swaggle on my shoulder, black belly in my hand. I travel the bush of Australia like a true-born native man. I travel the bush of Australia like a true-born native man.
And there we go, an Australian version of the Boys of Wexford, with it gives a very direct reference to our Gold Rush towns, including your area there, Mr. Stew. I think.
Yeah, it's interesting. All those old books, I've got tons of books of old Celtic songs and Australian folk songs and things.
Yes.
And all the tunes go back to England.
Yes.
And Scotland and Ireland. Like there's nothing new under the sun.
Oh no.
They just put new words to them, and
they
that
do.
was it.
That's exactly what they did. They just used the same tunes.
You see that in the names of the towns, don't you? So many of our country towns are just named after towns in England or Britain.
They are, and suburbs of Melbourne as well. That's it. That's the way it happened. It was very Anglo-centric. Yep, that's right.
Queensland.
Yep.
New South Wales. South Australia's original. West Australia.
Yes.
I suppose Tasmania is.
Yeah.
Northern Territory, but the rest are just like, they just transplanted England here.
They did.
But the capital cities, Melbourne, Sydney,
that's
Brisbane.
Right. There was Lord Melbourne.
All British.
Yes, they.
Torquay, Brighton, Anglesey.
I know, it's ridiculous. We're so original here.
We
and
are.
3LO instead of 2LO.
I know. Now that's just blatant. Yeah, piggybacking. They could have thought of something better than that, couldn't they?
3OL.
Oh, well, indeed. That's all fun. Well, now I've got the Seekers rolling. Any Seekers requests? Anyone got a favourite Seekers song?
Oh, what's the one they were walking around Melbourne High with?
That was a good song. Yeah. Gee, what was it? Was it California Dreaming? No, it wasn't that.
That's Mamas and Bobbers.
No, that was the Mamas. They did great covers. They did. One of my favourites is that Bob Dylan song, "The Times Are Changing."
Oh yeah. Peter, Paul and Mary did a very good one of that.
Yeah.
It was a groundbreaking song, that really.
Yes, it was.
It was a turning point.
Yeah.
So simple musically, but very powerful.
Yeah, really powerful. I like the Seekers version of "The Times Are Changing" more than anyone's. I suppose I grew up with it. But there's a real sort of blend, and I'll see if I can find the Melbourne High one while I'm listening to that.
The Times Are Changing. My favourite is Mary Travis singing at the Woodstock Folk Festival in 1960 or whatever.
Yes.
And the wind's blowing, and they've got one ancient mic with her sticking up there, and everything's blowing, and her hair's in her face and her mouth and everything, and she just keeps singing along.
Really?
And it's black and white, obviously.
Yes.
And it's really powerful rendition of it.
Oh, that sounds great.
So
I'll
have a look at that, Mary Travis. And they were just sort of up on the stage, and it looked like it was all wonking. Things were shaking around.
Yes.
There's an old piano in the background with half the keys missing and things.
Oh, brilliant.
And, someone just taped some foam or rubber on the mic so the wind wasn't getting into them too much.
Oh, wow. How about that?
It's amazing.
I will look that up for sure. In fact, I'll follow on. I'll play the Seekers version, and then I'll look up the Peter, Paul and Mary with that.
A lot of great moments on the film of Woodstock. Just incredible thing.
It sounds great. Well, I'm going to do some investigation.
I must away for dinner, so I'll continue to listen. But,
okay, that's fine.
Good evening, and feel well soon.
Oh, look, I'll be fine. Tomorrow I'll be back to normal. I'm going to go to bed straight after this, and I've been in bed all day, and that's all you need is a bit of rest. But this has been also a reconstitute. So, so thank you for your input.
She's all vk3sl.
Yeah, we'll look forward to catching up soon. All right, let's hear The Times Are Changing. First of all, with the Seekers, and then we'll see if we can find the Mary Travers version.
That? Oh, I can tell you all about that. Overlooking Canberra's proud new civic square is a gigantic lady named Ethos. She symbolises the spirit of the community.
Well, she doesn't exactly symbolise the spirit of some of the communities that I know.
Well, I think what the book really means is it's the spirit of an ever-changing world.
Come gather round people wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, then you better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone, for the times they are a-changing. Come writers and critics who prophesy with your pen, and keep your eyes wide, the chance won't come again, and don't speak too soon, for the wheel's still in spin. And there's no telling who that it's naming, for the loser now will be later to win, for the times they are a-changing.
Come senators, congressmen, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorway, don't block up the hall, for he that gets hurt will be he who has stalled.
There's a battle outside and it's raging. It'll soon shake your windows and rattle your walls, for the times they are a-changing.
Come mothers and fathers throughout the land, and don't criticize what you can't understand. Your sons and your daughters are beyond your command.
Your old road is rapidly aging. Please get out of the new
what now will later be fast, as the present now will later be past. The order is rapidly fading, and the first one now will later be last, for the times they are a-changing.
Come gather round, people, wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, then you better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone. For the times they are a-changing. Some writers and critics who prophesize with your pen, and keep your eyes wide, the chance won't come again. And don't speak too soon, for the wheel's still in spin, and there's no telling who that is naming. Oh, the loser now will be later to win, for the times they are a-changing. Come senators, congressmen, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorway, don't block up the hall, for he that gets hurt will be he who has stalled. There's a battle outside and it's raging. It'll soon shake your windows and rattle your walls, for the times they are a-changing. Come mothers and fathers throughout the land, and don't criticize what you can't understand. Your sons and your daughters are beyond your command. Your old road is rapidly aging. Please get out of the new one if you can. Lend your hand, for the time they are a-changing. The line it is drawn, the curse it is cast. The slow one now will later be past, as the present now will later be past. The order is rapidly fading, and the first one now will later be last, for the times they are a-changing.
Cajun man, do what he can. Gotta make a living, he's a Louisiana man. At first, Mom and Papa called a little boy Ned, raised him on the banks of the riverbed. A houseboat tied to a big tall tree, a home for my mama and my papa and me. The clock strikes 3, Papa jumps to his feet. Already Mama's cooking Papa something to eat. At 1:30, Papa, he's ready to go. He jumps in his barrel, headed down the bayou. He's got a fishing line strung across the Louisiana River. Gotta catch a big fish for us to eat. He sets his traps in the swamps, catches anything he can. Gotta make a living, he's a Louisiana man. Gotta make a living, he's a Louisiana man. Oh yeah! Cajun man, do what he can. Gotta make a living, he's a Louisiana man. Ooh.
They call Mama Rita and my daddy Jack. Little baby brother on the floor is Mac. Grim and Lynn are the family twins. Big brother Ed's on the bio-fishing. On the river float, Papa's great big boat. That's how my Papa goes into town. Takes every bit of the night and day to even reach a place where the people stay. He's got a fishing line strung across the Louisiana River. Gotta catch a big fish for us to eat. He sets his traps in the swamps, catches anything he can. Gotta make a living, he's a Louisiana man. Gotta make a living, he's a Louisiana man. Ooh. I can hardly wait till tomorrow comes round. That's the day my Papa takes his furs to town. Papa said, son, we got lines to run. We come back again, cause there's work to be done. He's got a fishing line strung across the Louisiana River. Gotta catch a big fish for us to eat. He sets his traps in the swamps, catches anything he can. Gotta make a living, he's a Louisiana man. Gotta make a living, he's a Louisiana man. Oh yeah.
There we go, the Seekers and their rendition of Louisiana Man in 1966, and that video completely is so reminiscent for me. If you look at that up online, Louisiana Man, you'll see there is a film of Melbourne High School, which is where I went, and that film was made in 1966, and the school was exactly the same when I was there, just under 20 years later, early 80s.
Pity they built all those big apartments behind and ruined the whole spectacle.
I know, you'd lose the whole profile.
A preserved area, I think.
I agree with you entirely. It's lost its context now. It seems to be sort of dwarfed by these horrible apartment buildings, and they haven't even got the South Yarra Arms anymore. My music teacher used to drop me home, and I'd sit in his car for an hour while he sat at the South Yarra Arms, and he'd come out drunk as a skunk and drive me home from school.
That's right. And you go to sit in a train, and you go past Melbourne High, and you see the Tetley Tea House and all those things.
Yes, that's right.
And it's just totally changed.
Yes, the Brighton May factory.
Yes, and the what is it? The soup factory or the sauce factory.
The Rosella sauce factory,
and
that's right.
It smelled like sauce and sweet smell.
Yes, it did. It had quite a toxic smell. I remember that very well. Yes, all these ancient memories. That film, there's a clock on the wall in the hall, which I used to sit there and just watch the minutes tick by during rehearsals. We'd sit there.
Yes, you would.
And it's the same clock. It was there in 1966. And there are lots of landmarks in that film, various little things that trigger memories. But
they're great, those films.
Yes, they are indeed. That's it. So, of course, the Seekers all went to Melbourne High. And so there we go. That's a.
They would have been old boys, and they would have been welcome back to do a clip. Probably didn't have to pay anything.
They probably didn't.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, so there we go. A little bit of Seekers money. I always like an excuse to play Seekers records.
It's interesting, old Melbourne films.
Mm.
Mr. Geza, what's his name?
Oh, yes, indeed.
He has been ripping off my stuff from tele-recordings.
Has he?
And putting them up. And he edits them, puts some crap music. He gets 50,000 hits, I get 37.
Oh, that's not fair.
Now, there's nothing I can do about it. He does actually say from tele-recordings on the thing.
Oh, does he? Okay.
But I mean, the whole purpose of it, I'm not really happy, but then again, the whole idea was the stuff hasn't been junked and people see it. So
yeah, well, look, he does pick the eyes out of things so to give a particular theme.
That's what he does. Like he's got an old Melbourne theme, which you've got to have one theme, I think, to get high ratings.
I think it needs to be very targeted, and
that's right.
That's the way. And I think if you can sort of streamline things, that's when you get the big hits. But I think it's taken him a very long time to get his client.
Yeah, it does. And I prefer the raw footage with the overexposure, someone's feet while they're walking on the street and they've had the thing running, the cuts where it goes fast and slow and overexposed during bits and pieces.
Yes, that's right.
To me, that adds all that.
It does.
And immediacy to it.
It does. It's all more authentic.
And the shots of the sky while they work out what they're doing.
Yes.
And to me, his cluttered all that's cut out.
Yeah.
But I think that sort of adds to the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it needs to be the full Monty, and it just has that stamp of authenticity, and I think it prevails. I think he gets his viewing because he's got so much football stuff up there.
I think so, yeah.
And I think the fact that he's targeted that, he's got like hundreds of hours of AFL matches from the 50s right through to the current time. So I think that's where he gets his viewers. But he's... it's funny how things happen.
I think so. And look, I can't talk. I plagiarise stuff, and I don't care about copyright and things. So I really can't complain. It's a little bit deflating. That's all.
Yes, I can understand because I know you put a time and work into it, and then he suddenly just gets these massive.
That's right.
Responses to it.
And it's also, the Beatles one I've got, which is my highest rating thing on the ASA channel.
Yeah.
I put a high quality version up on telerecordings, and I've got links to it in the original one. I've got end cards saying if you want to see it in HD, go here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The top ones, I think, is over 100,000 hits.
Yeah.
The telerecording one's been there a year. 36 hits or something.
Isn't it interesting?
Like, even though in your face, look, a better quality here, and people are discussing in the comments, this is such bad quality, why couldn't they transfer it in better quality? Well, now it is.
Yeah,
and no one's taking any advantage.
They don't take notice. See, it's expediency. People look at these things quickly, and they don't look at they don't read all of the comments.
No, they never read the comments. In fact, I think most people, because on their phones it's hard to get the comments.
Exactly.
And no one ever looks at them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. 90% of people look at it on their phones, and it is hard to access comments on phones, I have to say. So yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I think they need a slightly better tablet and phone algorithm.
I think so, yeah.
But that'll probably happen. And yes, look, sometimes things just have their season when you don't realise, and suddenly it becomes discovered and all that.
Well, look, once you put things on a public medium, you've lost control, and I understand that.
Oh, look, it's just getting
and
stuff
I don't
out
care,
there.
Really.
No, but I can appreciate what you say, though. It's sort of a bit dispiriting when someone repackages your material. At least he's giving some reference to where he got it from.
Has, yeah. Not a link to it, but he's told,
Yeah, it'd be nice if he gave a link.
Yeah. I mean, look, if I use music or something, from unsigned artist or anyone, I always put a link or something to it.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So, but it's anyway, that's the way it is. Now, I had a long talk with Mr. T this morning.
Oh, yes.
And things are sort of going. I think they're going okay.
Okay. So, any sort of resolve about the parallel, and do you think is he going to just pursue things anyhow, see how it goes?
Pursue things. No one's gotten onto that particular point yet.
Yeah.
So I'm quite happy with that.
Okay.
And I think the people, the transfer, the consultants, they're a bit worried it's a 5 kilowatt license.
Mm.
And I'm going to contact them and say, look, make it 500 watts. I don't care. I'm never going to use a kilowatt.
Yes.
And that might make them happy for interference problems or whatever.
Okay.
Because there's some military thing in Darwin, 6 kc down the band. I mean, for God's sake, which they never use.
Right.
But that may not be a problem. Oh, I don't think it will be, because it was a big 50 kilowatt thing in Alice Springs.
Well, that's right. You're using Alice Springs frequencies, aren't you?
It didn't worry anyone then.
No, that's right.
So it went worldwide. I mean, people could hear it in Europe.
Indeed.
In fact, I've got some, I recorded stuff off when I knew they were going to close down. I recorded stuff from Europe and the US on the SDRs.
Yes.
Of their signal over there.
Okay. Oh, very good.
It's quite amazing.
Well, that'll be something quite special to. You could probably rebroadcast some of it on the same native frequencies.
That's right. And another technical thing, the emitters that I did the video on, the wooden one.
Yes.
It's never worked properly. Like when you tune across, it's got spiked. It's unstable. It's tuning. It's taking off a VHF. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And I've rebuilt it 10 times. I thought there's something about this. It just doesn't work.
Mm.
It's not stable.
Mm.
And I was looking through some papers that I got from the Barry. His folder, and there's a circuit of his emitters.
Yeah.
And I looked on it. He's got the little filters on the plate caps.
Yes.
And he's got 10 turns and 1,000 ohms. I thought, I'll just check mine, and I've got 10 turns and 1 ohm.
Ah.
I must have made a mistake with the resistance. So it's not acting as a filter at all.
It's not acting as a filter, and it's interacting.
Yes. So I just replaced it with 1,000 ohms, and now it's working perfectly.
It's working perfectly. Well, there you go.
So
worth checking.
I checked everything, thought about everything. I just did not think that I'd made a mistake in that thing.
That's right, especially when it's a component that has dual purpose, or there's two components to it.
That's right, yes.
That's right. How about that?
So it just shows that those little... of course, the 807 was very skitty, and they knew that in the early days. That's why they could put those things on them.
Yes.
And now it works okay.
Oh, that's tremendous. That's a great outcome. Well done. Good thinking. Sometimes it's good to stand back and come back to something later. And
you have to stop working, put it all away, come back a few days later.
Yes,
and
indeed.
you get a bit of inspiration. I look at that beam and I thought, oh, yeah, well, what mine is. I think mine's that too, but I'm not quite sure.
Yes, indeed. Oh, well, that's great. Well, I might have to wind up for tonight. I'll be probably a little bit more energised tomorrow.
Yeah, if you had the 2 hours out in the open, then you're probably starting to sag.
Yes,
when you got one of those fluey things, this time of the evening is the worst, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It dips down. You feel okay during the day, then you feel really crap about 6 or 7 o'clock.
Yes, it's always when the temperature drops. That's the time. But we will be back tomorrow, and I'm sure everything will be moving forward. So, good news about MITS and developments with Mr. T. We'll look forward to the whole situation unfolding. It's very exciting. And, I think it'll all just work. I don't think there'll be any issues there.
I don't think so. And look, he's happy to have the band full of people doing different things.
Well, it's good that he's on your side.
Yeah, I think that's what he doesn't want. He would, he's got restraints with, he's got 1611s and things around the place, but he would like to see the band used and different programs on different things, just like we would,
Yes, well, that's good.
Rather than people just holding them for whatever.
Well, you found the right advocate, because I think the other fellow was a little less inclined, wasn't he?
Yes, I think so.
Oh, well, that's most excellent. Alrighty, we'll catch up tomorrow or whenever, and we'll wind up for this evening.
Rightio.
Okay, thanks
for
Mr. Stu.
Seekers.
No worries. We'll wind up with the Seekers, I think. And I'll just play one track and then we'll switch off until tomorrow. Thank you, folks, for listening in. And this is vk3sl testing on 160 and on UHF, and also streaming online. Out with The Carnival Is Over.
Say goodbye, my own true lover, as we sing a lover's song. How it breaks my heart to leave you. Now the carnival is gone. High above, the dawn is waking, and my tears
Train whistle blowing makes a sleepy noise. Underneath their blankets go all the girls and boys, rockin', rollin', riding out along the bay, all bound for Morningtown, many miles away. Driver at the engine, fireman rings the bell, Sandman swings the lantern to show that all is well. Rockin', rollin', riding out along the bay, all bound for Morningtown, many miles away. Maybe it is raining where our train will ride. All the little travelers are warm and snug inside. Rock